Okay, so I met you. Well, why don't you just introduce yourself really fast? Then I'll tell you like where that all started.
Yeah, so, God, I think it was like I made an honor guide back in last year July, and someone posted it on your Hammer Time, and then it came up in my recommended, and you also commented on the guide, the Reddit guide itself, and then from then on, it just sort of like I used your stuff. I was more active in your Twitch chat and your Discord and stuff, and it just sort of grew from there on. And then we had like an interview back in mid-February time, so
Yep.
now
Yep.
here. So
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I remember basically just somehow somebody had linked to your guide and I was like, yo, this is actually pretty decent. Like this guy is like actually hitting the nail on the head. And I really like the simplicity way of you doing your guides, like the straightforward, the basics and actually hammering the basics. I thought, so I was like, I was impressed. Usually when stuff gets submitted to me by Hammer Time, especially if it's stuff from somebody I don't know and I had never heard of you at that point, I'm usually like, oh boy, this is not going to be that good. But I was impressed, pleasantly surprised, and so asked you on, and I come to find out that you're actually only a 12-year-old child. I had no idea. So how old are you, and what got you started with this before we actually get rolling?
So, so I'm 16, not 12, thank you very much. And what got me started was, God, just I wanted to I got inspiration from people like Jane and stuff, and I don't know, I just sort of wanted to make YouTube has always been a dream and stuff, and I actually wanted to give it like a proper go, especially with like COVID and stuff, and I had tons of time in lockdown, so I thought I might as well.
Sick. And so now we're actually coaching stuff. Now, you have transitioned because it was guides, but there's been more and more, and I know you've done a little bit of coaching with teams, but I've noticed that there's like more actually like coaching and reviewing stuff rather than just creation of guides. So
Yeah.
can you kind of talk about like how did you get this VOD? Like what kind of transitioned you into here? And by the way, chat, the VOD we're about to review, once I change scenes, you're gonna be like, wait, what? Because it's an unusual VOD. So go ahead.
So the reason why, because I know like guides are gonna be finite. Like there's gonna come a point where I can't just keep doing guides on and on and on. So I need to like sort of branch out, and I didn't actually realize how much knowledge I gained from actually making my guides on every single hero and learning the fundamentals around them in team composition and stuff. So like once I finish my guides, I want to have enough knowledge to where I can just spring off to do other things. And also I quite enjoy coaching the team and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's nice interacting with players. And also, yeah, this is a goat spot because right now, unfortunately, due to exams, there's not many 2-2-2 scrims. So right now in CGL, and CGL is like a console gaming league, is a third-party tournament that we run. Basically, they ran or trying to run a goats tournament. And yeah, this is one of the actual, I think, games. Yeah, one of the actual games that we
From
had
the tournament
last week.
From the tournament, the VOD is?
Sorry? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. So for those in chat, I think this is actually going to be a really interesting little VOD because obviously we're going to talk a lot about like the micro of not a lot, but a little bit about the micro of goats versus goats. This was like goats is like the first composition I actually started coaching when I first got into team coaching, so it's kind of like a nostalgia moment for me. I hated goats. I was one of the few coaches that I think, at least in my little group, that hated goats. I didn't mind coaching it, but it grew very, very dull to spectate over and over and over again. But it holds a special place in my heart because it kind of like broke my understanding of the game and helped me to learn a lot. Now, when we talk about D.Va, we talk about map control and angles and like matrix prioritization and pressure and peeling. And really, the game doesn't fundamentally change in those rules, even when you break the rules of 2-2-2. In fact, I think D.Va and Zarya off-angling, things that I've become more consistently popping up in my vernacular as I've coached different compositions, dive and spam, those really kind of started to approach my viewpoint when I was coaching goats. So goats actually taught me how to play D.Va and Zarya correctly in other compositions that weren't goats. And so to me, that's kind of always kind of what stood out to me is how the fundamentals are still the same. So what are you looking at here? What are you looking for from this D.Va?
Like again, I mean, I'm just gonna be mainly reiterating what you said, but definitely the fundamentals about map control and taking off angles, especially in the Ghost Mirror, where if a D.Va stacks main, she's gonna be outputting a lot less pressure than a D.Va on off angle and drawing less attention away. I think that's gonna be even more apparent in a Goat's Mirror. And it's also just more apparent in the 2-2-2 rule that we've been seeing from the past 2-3 months ish.
Exactly.
So I think that's going to be furthered even more.
Exactly. Now, before we actually get into the VOD, there's a little bit of micro details that I think those in chat, even if you weren't around for Goats Meta, you might find this to be rather interesting. So one of the reasons why you're going to notice, I'm assuming that these we're going to roll out on. Yeah, they are going to roll out on Ana versus Zen. Now, one of the unusual things about Ana versus Zen and why it transitioned from Moira to Ana to Zen, it wasn't just so that teams are getting more disciplined with the amount of value that they needed from raw healing, right? Because obviously Zenyatta is going to heal raw less than Ana, and Ana's going to heal at the time a little less than Moira. It was two reasons in particular. One was because well, really a couple. One of the little ones was that Ana cooldowns just got eaten a lot, Moira orbs got eaten a lot, so there was some of the value there that was left off. The second reason was obviously things like shield pressure, spam damage. As teams got more disciplined with goats and were playing at like more medium rather than just all-inning tempos, Zenyatta was finding more value. For example, if the enemy team just all-in you, but you were able to survive that all-in, your Zenyatta damage would just eventually bleed them out, because in general in Overwatch, damage almost always outpaces healing mid-fight. Almost always. Even in, everyone complains about sustain, right? But as it is and has been for a while, damage is, it's impossible to heal up damage without cover and restabilization. But there's another reason why Zenyatta was played, besides just his ultimate advantage. That's another one, by the way, ultimate advantage. And it was his ability to control the map. And we've talked about this, you and I, and we've gone over this, and you've gone over this in your guides of Zenyatta's, you know, Harmony Orb and Tracer and Sombra, and how flanks matter and things like that, and how Harmony and Discord allow you to win the flanks and angles. Well, if in Goats, if we zoom out here, like let's say there's a team fight happening here, right? And there's a Zarya on an off-angling, lobbing high charge right clicks behind Ryan's shield, right? What Zenyatta does, if you're on the enemy team, is his Discord and his raw range damage, which is really the only consistent range damage in Goats, can remove this Zarya from the off angle or force her to go back towards her team because she's getting spammed out. If you don't have a Zen, you can't bully this Zarya off of the off angle easily at all. And not only that, but like let's say that there's a D.Va versus D.Va flank war. Like let's say both of your Zaryas are fighting for this off angle. A nade a nade is like the only thing that will really swing this flank war. Whereas Harmony and Discord is significantly easier to contribute in this flank war. And if one Zarya gets Harmony Orb and Discord's the enemy Zarya, and that Zarya is getting on a pocket, the Zarya with Zen support's always going to win, because Harmony and Discord are just busted in duel. So you actually ended up having a lot of these Zenyatta versus Ana came down to, it wasn't just that, our Ryan shield was under less pressure. It was actually, our D.Va and Zarya can play wherever they want, and there's nothing that the Ana or Moira Goats team can do to stop them. So I think that is something that's always very fascinating for me. So if you're looking at Graphitic here, what do you like? I guess like what do you think are his priorities? I think first, or his or her priorities first fight here.
Definitely taking or utilizing that Zen Orb over the Onanade. Like if we have if they have like a resource deficit and we can punish that, I definitely want to be seeing Gravitic take almost like 90 or 180 degree flanks behind their Ryan, because Zen Orb, they don't have Zen Orb, right? They can't Discord that, they can't clear that as easily, whereas we do. So even if their D.Va contests like Gravitic on a hard flank, they can't really do much about it. And you pair that up with the Lucio as well to make that even faster, and even harder to contest. Then yeah, I think that's going to be a key to winning. Agreed.
I think it's like, in a way, this D.Va has an easier job because I think they're slightly favored in the matchup, but she also has a harder job because it is her responsibility to make sure those few things that Ana can bring to the table, the heavy single target healing, the nade and the sleeve, that those are dealt with. And if this D.Va can deal with those, then there's no way that they're going to lose. If this D.Va can't deal with those, then there is a foreseeable opportunity for the D.Va for the Ana Goats team to win. Because, you know, Discord and Harmony are great, but if you land a 5-man nade, there's just not much at Overwatch that's more powerful than that. So, okay, you ready to roll, man?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna let you run point for the most part here, but just holler at me to pause, and we'll go for it. All right. Let me get this situated. Thank you for the subscription. Actually, I turned this down just a little too much. How's the volume on your end, by the way?
Oh, it's fine, yeah.
All right, I'll turn it up just a tad. All right.
Hello. Greetings. Let's get passed up.
It's been so long since I've seen Goats. Yeah, sure.
So like right now, our initial plan on neutral was it's gonna be more macro than D.Va specific, but
Sure.
our initial plan was to let them go to point and then punish their backline when rotating. Now, unfortunately, they didn't actually go to point; they went close side. But that was our initial plan. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, sure. So what are your thoughts on the rollout here? Because again, we're looking at this thing from like, oh yeah, they got to point first, that they went first. So what do you see as like advantages and disadvantages of going to point first for Team Blue and then Team Red?
So their backline for Team Blue taking points, obviously they have point control and they can play up close and hold the corner, but their backline can't really rotate as easily because they can get, if they rotate to the outskirts of close, they can more easily get booped off and they don't really have a clear route of retreat, whereas we do. So I definitely like to be seeing Gavitic take, or even like pressure backline heavy when and synced with our Reinhardt.
Right. Okay. Any position in particular that you think might be good, or is it just more like play patiently, and then when we do commit, like swing here, or like what do you think?
By like the left side window.
Okay. So
yeah,
all
like
the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sick. All right. Let's see
You
it.
got cover. You can get support from Lucio. You still have LOS and Xenorbs. And you should be drawing enough attention away to where your Reinhardt, the pressure relayed off your Reinhardt should be fine.
Okay. Not exactly the greatest use of micro missiles there.
Yeah.
Like the way I look at it is like micro missiles early in, it's like any other cooldown. Micro missiles early in poke, and then as the fight's about to start, you save it because once, like you were saying, once you do get deep in here, you would like your micro missiles for that extra pressure on backline or extra pressure on Reinhardt. Because like right now, I can feel as if something's about to happen, but we don't have that cooldown to stack right on top of whatever else we throw in. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree, and also I like to throw in like the HP management as well. Like he's already down 150 HP.
Oh yeah, shoot,
and
you're
they
right.
just use bubble and shield to push up as well. So like if our Reinhardt wants to go in right now, he can't really go in as aggressively as he wants to because he's wasted his shield HP in the last 5 seconds just poking.
Right. Okay, this is old Brig as well. Cool.
Yeah. So like some of the settings. Yeah, so some of the settings were try to be reverted. So I think Brig can bash through shields, but only in like really short ranges. Reinhardt fast has been removed. But his shield hasn't been changed. D.Va's boosters also has been increased to 5 seconds instead of 4 seconds, and her remake buff has been removed. And I think Brig only has 1 armor pack right now, but it's not instantaneous. I think it does like 100 healing in like half a second maybe, but it's not instantaneous as it was before.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So as close as you can get within reasonable.
As close as you can get, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
So like right now, you've just seen that like they've just used Zara bubble and your Reinhardt's aggressing. So I would actually like sometime right now I'd actually be wanting to see my D.Va go left side with my Lucio potentially, and put relay pressure off my Reinhardt so he can push in.
So you're saying like actually swing off this way as you're
swing
going.
Swing off. Would you? Yeah. Would you like swing left side, like hard left side to where I said roughly?
Yeah, I think I would. Like it just depends on like what are we actually looking to do here? Like actually like to wait and patiently spam this out, or like actually go in. That's what I'm not sure.
I mean, like, it just depends. Like whether they waste bubbles or whether they waste shield or whether they, we have a clear cooldown advantage to where we can definitely go hyper aggressive and push this.
Right. Right.
But yeah.
Sorry, I'm fixing up some technical issues. Okay, I think we should be okay. Okay.
Also, yeah, yes, Savvy Drone is console.
Okay, yeah, console. All right, let's roll. Holy smokes, those must have been some fat fire strikes.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not too much to say there. Their Reinhardt kind of feeds, and he quickly gets too greedy and doesn't swing with bubble, sorry.
Right.
And he gets punished. So
right, it's difficult for Team Blue as well because like once you go to point first, you're kind of in a situation where you really just can't really stabilize because Zenyatta is constantly spamming you. But also you don't really want to push out. Like we see this sometimes with the Symmetra May compositions in 2-2-2 where they want to try and leave point, but it's just very awkward to try and leave point like that. But yeah, okay. So what do you say from the first fight? Anything that stood out to you? Micro missiles was a little thing that stood out to me, but what about for you?
I guess decisiveness potentially. So not pushing advantage as hard as he could have been. And if you watched because I know you were lurking in my chat yesterday, but if you watched my Master VOD with D.Va like 2 days ago, when you have the clear advantage, pushing in hyper aggressively in like a line like that,
Yeah.
Not always the best in the world. Like,
Right.
I reckon Gravitzik could have. Gravitzik did nothing in that fight, in my opinion, or
Yeah.
didn't do much. Reinhardt sort of carried that.
Right.
And he could have like done more by off-angling harder with Xenorbs and Lucio.
Right. And I think for the viewers in chat, like this is something that you can pull away from your own like ranked experience, because even if you're not in voice communication, you can kind of visually respond to like, okay, I see my Reinhardt actually starting to take space, so that's my cue to immediately, as soon as it happens, reactively take an angle to push aggressively. Now, in this instance, we actually have basically a scrimmage or a tournament where the communication is good. There really is no excuse to not have that timing on, right? You should know exactly when you can split, because you're actually in somebody who's actually talking properly. Okay, let's roll. Right there,
So actually,
fine. Oh, you have something, okay.
Yeah, so this is actually my D.Va guides on the specific map, where you can also be scouting. You can fly like the top right window and then fly above that, so you can see like where they're coming from. Because if they go high grounds, then maybe we back up from like the closest corner. Whereas if they're going down main, then we can hold that corner really close. So yeah.
So you're basically consistently as D.Va pre-fight whenever possible, looking to scout. Flash your matrix so you don't get chunked down. I think be very careful that you don't get slept here. That would be really unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, basically like you're looking to scout just so your team can use that information. And honestly, even if your team can't, you can use it. So scout, try and not lose any HP at all, then drop and move from there. Okay, so that's a good point. There's sleep dart. This is a little spooky here.
Yeah, so like right now, I don't think so. Can we run like 10 seconds?
So do you want me to go back 10 seconds? Yeah.
So I want to see the D.Va's HP and boost usage as well.
I mean, this is already bothersome right here.
They're like taking too wide when the Reinhardt's not peeking.
Yeah. It's tricky for me because I look at this and I'm like, for the Zarya, it's like, oh, then how come the Zarya is not allowed to do this? I'm not super thrilled with the Zarya swinging this wide either, but at least with Zarya, she's sort of a lower HP pool, she's a smaller hitbox, and she has more meaningful poke in this phase, right? Whereas D.Va, like, you're not doing anything here, you're easier to shoot, you're easier to hit, and you're like have a lot more HP to bleed. So like we can look at ourselves like 538, like that's fine. We could boost her out right now and passive Brig, passive Lucio, whatever, and we won't demand Harmony, or we'll be fine. But then, like, as you were saying, is like, and right, like right there, there's like 200 HP lost. And unless we're purposely trying to build up an ultimate, what that's going to mean is that we're either going to have to play very passive, whereas we might be wanting to fight right now, and now we can't off-angle, and we've used our boosters. Or at the very least, we're going to absorb Harmony Orb, which might, in this instance, might want to be on Ryan, you might have it on Brig, you might have it on Zarya, who's aggressing. And now, like, what do we get out of that? 100 shield damage, 50 shield damage? Like, that's just not a good trade. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think we actually end up getting grabbed because of it. If you
Really? Okay, let's watch.
Yeah, I think maybe Oh, that's our grab. Okay.
Sure.
Like, right now,
but the point being is, like, I mean, you can answer this. Where do you want to be positioned for this right now?
Yeah, like literally by line, or like, perhaps on the high ground, top right.
Yeah.
Like anywhere behind where it's making the Reinhardt flicker shield, like.
Right.
Sort of having this linear damage.
Right. So it's like, because we got a little greedy in a situation where our return on investment was very low, now in a situation where we absolutely want to be greedy, we can't. Yeah. And so it's like, obviously you got some pressure done here, but you traded a lot of resources for it, and then immediately afterward we had an opportunity. Now we don't have it. And like, you could even see things like, maybe we could have like put Matrix on this. I mean, I don't even know where on it is. Is she inside the grab? Yeah, like theoretically we could have Matrix this nade a little better. Lots and lots of other things. Okay. And that's the thing, because like, doesn't affect that fight there as much, but it's like, it was 15-20% lower value on D.Va, or 15-20% more risky, and if one out of every 5 fights you're going to throw because of that.
I think the only reason why we win that team fight is because they're running Honor. They don't really have a chance for it.
No. No.
Yeah.
No. That's okay. So like, just to like reconfirm here, when we're talking about wind angle, how do you like visually know wind angle? Like, what's your cue? It's like kind of a general question, but like, what are you looking for exactly?
Oh god, general question. I mean, I'll start narrow and I'll broaden it out. So like
Sure.
in this situation right now, when we have the space and they want to retake into us, like a good key is like when they pop an ultimate. So like they're likely gonna pop rally, maybe nano boost, probably not nano boost, but like they're likely to pop rally, and that's the cue for like, oh, they're gonna go in now.
Yeah.
And try and like take the space. But more generally speaking, like when a key is like when Reinhardt's trade in close range,
Yeah.
when Reinhardt drops off the high grounds. That's sort of the time
So
you want to angle. And I think
main tank
talked about-
trades.
in tank trains, yeah.
Okay. What if
I
you
think you
like? What if
Yeah, go.
does this go for? Sorry, I'm interrupting. Does this go for 222 as well for you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I also wanted to say like, the nuance with timing. So, would you say that like, so obviously in my Widow guides, one of the things you mentioned, and we also spoke about this in DMs, was the sort of like late timing, the late peaking, like half a second later. Will that still apply? I think that would still apply to D.Va.
Oh yeah. To me, it's like the how squishy you are and how much value you can get on an angle depends on when you go. Because the more value that you get, slash the earlier you want to go, right? But if you're very squishy, you want to be kind of following up off of damage. For example, like if we're playing just in this comp, like if we want a Zen to go on like an angle here for like extra greedy spam here, I don't want my Zen going earlier because he's gonna get like all it takes is a couple of honest shots or some elusive spam and all of a sudden he can't angle. Whereas if our Zen's main that kind of swings wide to another corner as the fight evolves, is much more likely to get away with it. For D.Va, I mean, I think like in terms of like what your timing is, you don't want to be ahead of your Rhine with an angle, kind of like you were saying. Your Rhine trades in, you swing, and then you swing wide. Like I would say almost instantly you swing wide. I think the other thing for D.Va to consider with that as well is because like if you're anticipating when these on-nades are going to be coming through, it's probably going to be right when that Rhines are trading. Right? So to me, that's when you need to get on that position so that you can ease your matrix those cooldowns so you can actually see what's going on. So for D.Va, I don't think you delay much. I think you go, okay, there's a trade, instantly angle. And if you get poked down a lot, okay, that's fine. That's a lot of heat taking off of your Rhine. I don't know. That's my take on it anyway. Okay. And again, like the micro missiles, like it annoys me because like we're gonna look at this here, like. And there goes a nade right smack dab in the middle of us, and we got, not only did we waste micro missiles, it almost felt like it was a distraction. That's unfortunate. Where would you want him to angle here? Because this seems to be something that you're always good at reading the map for.
God, I mean it's kind of awkward in this situation.
Yeah,
they're quite split apart. Maybe top right high ground, But
Yep.
considering like Brig, if Brig drops off, then definitely top right high ground. Well, I think like Brig can like whip the D.Va away coming off. Oh, she's dropping off. Yeah. So as soon as Brig gets off high ground, then yeah, I'll definitely be taking this.
Sure. And you're like close enough to where you're actually doing meaningful damage,
Yeah.
but not too close, so you're like getting meleeed. So okay. Do you think like graviton or anything like that affects this kind of stuff as well? Because obviously it is GOAT, so you do have to think about grav.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you obviously mentioned in like 2 years ago, like it's way easier to see what you're actually eating when you're from an angle because you can see the entire 11 players around you. And just in general, like from Gravitic, he often eats more grabs when he's not stacked on main, and I think that applies to like literally any D.Va there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also some things that you can do as well, because like, yeah, you can be caught while you're boostering, so you can start to boost up to high ground here and then just stop your boosters and flick your matrix this way. And yeah, you'll end up like here-ish, which is not amazing, but at least it's better than where we are right now. So it's like, even when Graviton's in the table and you're like, oh, I can't off angle because like as soon as I use boosters and fly off this direction, she's going to grab while I'm boosting. Well, you don't have to go all the way to the optimal off angle. You can just take a slight off angle and kind of use that almost as bait.
Yeah. One thing I will say on that though is that
Sure.
like on console is harder to flick. Like I was thinking about
True,
how
yeah.
I think what was his name, Fury. Like he boosted forward and then boosted backwards and then flicked his crosshair to eat the Zara grab and then flicked it back, which is insane. Like you can't. It almost reminds me of like tracers who do like a 180 pulse bomb, which you just physically can't do on console because they're thumbstick.
Right.
But yeah, in that situation there where like you're taking a more liberal angle, that could definitely be like a compromise.
Yeah.
Because you flick your crosshair less.
That makes sense. Oh, she got it off. We were definitely thinking about it though. Like I could tell that we're like hard matrixing her as we were moving along.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no.
How can you away, I think.
I feel like this is something that we should be able to reactively like respond to, especially in the situations where you're clearly hard focused on it. You're just looking at Ana, looking on it. She makes that slight animation and the noise. You should be able to react to that. That should be okay.
Yeah. Was it too liberal use of matrix that far?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. The fight's won, but we gotta nitpick. Like we gotta make fun. Oh wow, we get Ana too. Nice. So this is a ridiculously strong position that you guys are in right here. Again, the poke phase, micro missiles, but also poke phase, like you were saying earlier as well.
300 HP.
Like we are down to under 300 HP before fight starts. And the thing is this is something that I remember I was obsessed with, because like, you know, as you're learning more about the game as like a lower ranked player, you're like, wait, this makes no sense. Why do I do this? I remember thinking about like, should I even be shooting between these fights? Because I think there's like, okay, this is before I realized that, okay, yeah, shooting gives pressure. It's worth like feeding a little bit of ult charge. But like right now, there just isn't any reason to be feeding ult charge. You're not going to build your rally. You're not going to build your beat. And you're absolutely feeding their trance, potentially their graviton, all these other things. And for what? A bomb that you already have? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If anything, you would stand here and just take damage and not do any in response, because it's an imbalance of resource trade here. So, yeah, we're like astonishingly low in HP in this fight. Like, I just want to look at your teammates' HP. Full HP, full HP, full HP, full HP, full HP, and then this is like you're like the runt of the litter. Like, what on earth is going on here? Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess we.
Not to mention also like the very liberal use of matrix. Like,
oh, true. I didn't even notice
if
that.
If they had grav here, like if they have grav here, like this is a free grav for Zarya.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And it's like now this means that this Zen, like your Ryan's going to be under pressure, your Brig's going to be under extra pressure from their Zen. They're more likely to you know, land their micro missiles, land their fire strikes. I mean, and again, you don't have the micro missiles either. So this is actually shockingly mediocre cooldown usage. Oh dear. Oh dear. Zoning bomb. I mean, it does isolate the Rhine. So I guess we take that.
Here's the thing, like,
okay.
Yeah, it does isolate the Rhine. That's like the outcome. But I feel like a coordinated team would not, like, they would know that we have bomb. And if this bomb engage happened, then they would just kite as a 6 back. I mean, obviously, you know, I don't think they planned that, because their Brig is in Narnia as well as the Reinhardt. So I think we're gonna probably eventually kill the Reinhardt as a result of this. But a better team would not have split like this. Like they definitely would have kited. And if you look at where he actually bombs and flies up to bomb, like Reinhardt is still behind the corner, Brig is still behind the corner. They can still disengage from this very easily.
Oh yeah, you're right. That Reinhardt actually walks into the open.
So I think the Reinhardt and Brig were like off pages because, sorry, the Reinhardt and Brig and the rest of the team were just off the page. It's either you speed past this bomb as fast as you can, or you just kite, play slow, wait out the bomb, and then push him with the remaining left of your rally. Like I would have much preferred, if you are going to bomb engage, I would have much preferred you guys to just kite rally, make them overextend, and then bomb, and then push back in.
Yeah, true. And it's also, I mean, this whole fight is like a lot easier than it should have been, because they wasted beat, they've wasted grav. They started off on, I didn't do anything with nano, ended up swapping Zen late. So like there's so many things that the enemy team is like handing to you on a plate, and then you hand this one to them. It's like, oh, I don't give you a pass here. At least, I mean, you don't give him a pass here. I was like, yeah, you know, and Midge is like, no! Like, so, okay. Ryan should die, he does. There's the micro missiles that we love.
Yeah, I think we just clean up there.
And team death. Oh, he was 98% in trance. I don't think I would have traded, but or it wouldn't have mattered, rather.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So like, what are you seeing so far here? Because like, I've got a pretty good read, but I want to hear your thoughts.
So, the key thing I'm seeing is using resources way too early, like before the fight even begins, and then when the fight actually starts, we're at half HP or even lower, like in that last case right there. We have basically no DM. We have basically no micro missiles. Perhaps no even boosters, perhaps, because you know maybe we're kiting back with boosters and we can't boost back in to take an off angle. So that's definitely the key thing.
I mean, I agree. I don't have anything more to add. I think it's micro missiles, the matrix, the booster management, the HP management. It's literally, we're not. It feels like it's worthless trying to coach any of the micro details about how to position and where to off angle and using cooldowns. I think those are things that we should be thinking about, at least graphitic. But like, we're at a point now to where we're not even in a position to where we can actually off angle even if we wanted to. You're at 150 HP, you don't have boosters, you don't have micro missiles, and you're missing half your matrix. If you try an off angle in that situation, you're going to get instantly demeched and you're going to die. So it's like eating our vegetables before we even eat our dessert, because right now we're not even at a resource position to where we could even consider splitting from Ryan. So yeah, absolutely, 100% agree.
The thing that makes us even worse is that like we're on Zen goats as well. Like we'd be getting so much more value if he was playing like abusing that advantage, especially in like the first half.
Exactly. Okay, we keep going then. Will the errors continue? Oh gosh, I've not seen a white goats fight in a while. These are infamously like bloody.
Oh god.
I see. Okay, so this is where I think things get really interesting here. So I'm gonna talk about this. So there's a couple things that I see here. First off, they missed bubble. Looks like they missed. Yeah, they missed the bubble here. Okay, so that's actually pretty big. To me, if I'm graphitic, I might just turn my butt to this D.Va and annihilate this Reinhardt at point blank range. I think you do one of two things. You either gauge whether I need to fight for this off angle or whether I can abuse the off angle myself. Does that kind of like, am I explaining? Do you think I'm explaining that well? You kind of see what I'm saying there, right? Yeah. Like, do I need to duel this D.Va for the winning of the off angle, or can I just say, yeah, kiss my butt, I'm just going to be annihilating these guys from the single? Like, you can have, because like if I look at this position here, if I body block here, just staying here, the enemy D.Va is not going to be getting very much out of this position. So I've got here first, I got the inside edge, so I can just sit here, and that D.Va is going to, like, I can just utilize my HP. And hopefully I don't get DMAC. That's my only concern. And just milk this out. Worst case scenario, maybe I flash the matrix this way. Maybe I stay here for a second and a half and then I boost her out. I'm not too sure. What are your thoughts here so far?
Yeah, I was definitely going to mention that, especially with D.Va having bubble accidentally, and just sort of like getting pincered almost by the Reinhardt and the D.Va, and also the D.Va has Discord on her right now, and is already chunked down to 100 HP. So if anything, if you are going to abuse this off angle, it would only be for a second or two, and then you definitely fly back to your team.
Yeah. Do you track? Is that something that you should be tracking, like as D.Va often? Is like where if Discord's placed on you? I
don't. I mean, it's hard to like not notice because of the thing that the vignette that comes on your screen.
Right.
But it's not something that you should actively be tracking. Like.
Right.
Yeah.
You just have to respect a little more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's actually really bad. Yeah, bash out of boosters is insta death.
And you should be Burt's console, so.
Overall, not terrible. Just kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely be backing out though, or resetting. Yeah. Anything there that you saw was just kind of like an unlucky situation.
I mean, from a team perspective, I think we shouldn't have rotated through there because we're going to get cleaved by Ryan. So I think I'll lose show when our Zen died first.
Yep. Like that's crazy. I should not have it. All right. Now I've got a question for you because you've been the positional like expert here. First off, I want to watch our HP here because now they're on Zen, so we have to be a little more disciplined, right? So
I'm not even like, oh, you know.
Oh, so bad. Okay, let's just pretend though, because this isn't just about addressing this player's issues, but about like educating the player base about things. Even if you don't play Ghost, this helps. Do you consider boostering here?
Honestly, yes.
Oops.
With like, it needs to be timed. It needs to be timed well. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like bubbles need to be going on Reinhardt. Necromancer cannot waste shield. And potentially you could even have a Lucio come with you left side as well. The only problem with the Lucio coming left side is that your Reinhardt's not gonna have speed, and it's gonna be like a 5v4 on the front line. So that's my only contention with it. But like, so I solo D.Va left side. I think Graphitic does eventually take that angle, and you'll see how much attention he draws away. But yeah, I'd definitely be taking that left side.
Okay.
If contests,
right.
Just go on.
Right, exactly. You just end up taking the heat off. Okay, so the big thing here, though, is that number one is we're flashing a Matrix, but we've already taken damage. So once again, even if we wanted to off angle here, it would probably be really scary too at the HP that we're at. So long dramatic sigh. And then once again, we're micro missing. And again, like we don't have to, we're just, it's air. Like just air. Absolute air. When we could be shoot, or Ryan starts to push, like, wait. Ryan starts to push, and then we off angle here. Now, it looks like we're actually kind of AFKing. Maybe we're trying to build an ultimate or bait. So maybe we don't, so like we're actually going to get our micro missiles back fairly soon, as well as our HP. But you didn't know that. Unless we're purposefully feeding a support ult charge right here, this is a major feat. Would you agree?
I would agree, yeah.
Okay.
Also, one small, very small micro detail.
Sure.
Matrixing, like stacking Matrix and Bubble on the same time. Like it kind of reminds me of like Matrixing Winston Bubble at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this when I was doing the scouting reports, because I was mauling at, who was it? Was it London? No. It was, who was it? Shock. I think it was Shock. Yeah, Shock. Who were bubbling their Winston, and Smurf is bubbling instantly, like as he's being bubbled at the same time. And it was just such a ridiculous waste of resources. The fact that, neither of them are like staggered out, so they're like conflicting with each other. And it's even worse with Matrixing Bubble, because your Zarya wants damage to be coming in. She needs that Lucio, D.Va, Zen spam in. Otherwise, she's not going to get charge off of it. So when you Matrix Bubble, not only are you wasting resources that accomplish the same thing at the same time, but you're actually stealing value away from the Zarya. So this is where, like, as a D.Va, you have to kind of like listen to your team's bubble cycles. You have to kind of anticipate, okay, like, are we actually bubbling this? Are we actually doing this? I mean, this is why Zarya D.Va is generally not a very good off. If you're going to run double off tank, it's not really a good combo. But you have to be really, really careful about this. That's actually a really good point.
I mean, like right there. I mean, now we're taking the off angle, but we basically had no Matrix. Like I think we Matrixed when our Reinhardt was in cover. Like that's just kind of distinct.
Right. When your Reinhardt's ducking behind cover, you don't stand there like, hey, everybody, you can keep shooting me. It should be like, oh, Ryan's behind cover. Ryan's peeking out. Ryan's behind cover. Ryan's doing something. I'm not doing anything. Like that needs to be synchronized, like you were saying. Okay. On that note, though, coincidentally, I love the positioning, but we're kind of leading the charge here. I don't love that very much.
Yeah, the timing's slightly off.
No. I think this is talks about, like you asked me about the timing of the pressure with like the Widow off angle. I think this is one of the situations where that concept kind of comes into play, where it's like, yeah, we're on an off angle. Yeah, I assume our Reinhardt's about to do something. No, not even. We're actually still AFK, and we're still poking on here. Because right now, to me, this is where Zen instantly discords you and spams you out, because like, who else is he gonna shoot right now?
Yeah.
You need to like give him a dilemma. Like it's a like, do you discord Ryan who's actually moving in, or discord the D.Va who's annihilating your backline? And right now, there's really no Ryan to discord. There's no Ryan to pressure.
I mean, yeah, he does take a second to like go in.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like to regen Matrix and whatnot, but
Right.
I don't think that was like purposely timed for him when his Ryan was like pushing in.
Right. And again, here, like, this is a communicational thing. Maybe the Ryan like baited them and they got confused or whatever. But again, if you're playing in ranked, this is why it's so important to have visual cues and not only rely on audio cues. Because I mean, this is something that I coach even in pro players, because you don't want to clutter comms. Like, I don't want my team constantly calling, I'm here, right? You also have to just have the wherewithal to kind of turn around and check, right? So I think in this kind of situation here, like, you wait for Ryan, you see Ryan, you hear Ryan calling, I'm pushing through, and then that's your cue to turn this corner here. Okay. Because there's like meaningful pressure. Like, you could see Lucia spamming our way, Zenyatta kind of acted awkwardly, Ryan turned his shield over. Like, that's all great, but like, we're not going to get anything of it. Like, this is like, look, like, this is crazy to me. Like, what is our Ryan waiting for? Are we building a support ult?
Reinhardt does this quite a lot, like where like he would just like sort of like do like the Plat Ryan thing, where he just sort of like vibes at like choke and then just sort of waits for something to happen. There's no real clear glow sign.
Yeah. I mean, this is a situation where, like, if we're gonna be coaching team play, you're close to trance, so build the trance and then push it to choke. Or don't wait for trance and push it to choke beforehand. But we did neither here. We wasted a lot of time and we didn't build trance. That's like the worst case scenario, man. Like, we're probably gonna lose this fight to this. And, you know, our D.Va's in no position to pressure this off. So I mean, obviously we are, as a D.Va, like concerned that we were off time with Orion. But, you know, go sort that out with your Orion or rely more on visual cues because something was goofy there. Something like there was something very, very off there.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. But one thing with like really greedy off angles like that, like what do you do about grav? Because you're not in the range or LOS in that situation to like eat that grav, and you can't just got grabbed. So would you? Actually, no, I can understand myself. Like I guess you sort of like wait for like a support ultimate.
Yeah.
Instead of like actively trying to eat it.
Yeah, there's two ways. So like you can either just stack with your team and split later. So like what you do is you go, all right, well we don't have trance, we're not going to get trance, so we're just going to push this choke really aggressively, and my D.Va's going to boost her through and sit like right here, right?
Yeah.
So like you're not in as an aggressive, as a fun off angle. It kind of sucks, but at least you're in a better position to eat graph. And you'll see this. Like a lot of D.Vas will be like, well, I don't want to leave. And they'll do this with a pulse bomb as well. Like I don't want to leave my backline because there's grav or pulse bomb. So when they say that, it doesn't mean that they literally stack on top of their team, but they're always within like, you know, 3 or 4 meters of whatever they need to eat, whatever they need to matrix. And that they're obviously like hyper reactive to any. Do I hear blinks? Do I see Zarya? You know, that kind of a thing. And so I think that becomes the case here. So like we could either have said, okay, well, we're going to trance this. I'm just going to hope that we're going to survive it. And I'm going to go for a really, really aggressive thing to help us break the choke, which we scuffed up. Or I'm going to stack with team, explode with my Rhine, and push for a more conservative off angle where I have a better chance of actually eating, the graviton.
Yeah.
And then if we break it down into even further micro, teams used to D.Va bomb gravitons to prevent enemy Rhines from pinning them. So you might even want D.Va bomb and trance to counter graph, but that's getting way, way, way too complicated. Probably grab Mega here actually. Yeah, I would have grabbed Mega. Ooh. Okay.
And not much to say there.
Yeah, not much to say there. I also just grab Mega, especially when you're running like triple off support. They already had support ults. So like this is what I'm talking about in terms of micro missile usage, because it's like this is fine if you don't have grav, and obviously you're going to get micro missiles back by the time you use it. But it literally, this just kind of like a common theme of us just brain off when it comes to poke stage / micro missile usage. It's like between fights, I'm just gonna like press micro missiles in the general direction. Like, no, like you already have bomb. You're just feeding Rally. You're feeding Lucio. You're also exposing your own HP, which if you're trying to build ult, fine. But it's concerning to me. This needs to be addressed. This is fine if you need to build bomb. This is fine if you're trying to feed support ultimate. This is fine if you're scouting, like what you were saying on the previous round. But no, I don't like this. Oh no.
Oh, what is that? Micro missiles. God, and that DM as well.
Oh wow. And we're late positionally wise because we're busy like checking ourselves out in the mirror from across the bridge. Like, hey y'all, I'm gonna be putting out meaningless poke, feeding ult charge, lowering my HP, wasting cooldowns, and feeding a slight bit of support ult charge, only to be lagging significantly behind the rest of my core. Oh, this is I need like a Pepto-Bismol. I don't know if Brits know what that is. Like I need like some like bicarbonate of soda. My stomach is upset. What do you think about positioning here?
I mean, of course we were late. I don't think it's that bad, but it's kind of desynced with Orion. So I think Orion was like backing off, whilst our D.Va was like taking the off angle. And as you can see right now, like their Reinhardt just is like clearing the D.Va and smacking the D.Va right now. So I would much prefer like either right now we either play conservatively like we are kind of right now, or we sort of like hard int and then take left or right side.
Okay, sure. It's also worth noting as well that we're almost 150 HP missing from our previous extravaganzas over here, as well as our matrix is down as well, and our micro missiles. So like, I think that like we're gonna continue to go over this, but I think we have a pretty big picture of like a good picture of what this D.Va needs to be working on. Very nice. Well, that was so disorienting. For some reason, I thought we were literally going off the map. Like, I thought we were gone. Like, Motherly One, I thought we were like oh, so disorienting. Holy cow. And we still get a kill. I'm sorry, we just have to, just for old time's sake. We what, does he get bashed?
I think he, that's... Oh,
he actually walks in front of his Reinhardt.
Yeah, he walks in front and then he gets booped.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. So scuffed bomb. Holy smokes. But at least with this one, you don't have to worry about getting, you know, the remech damage.
Yeah.
Holy cow, those noob hunter clips get old. Oh no.
So...
Oh no! Why? Look at the Sara's grab charge. Look at the Sara's graviton charge.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Holy
god.
crap.
40%.
They were 14%. 20%. Look at this. Oh!
Oh my.
Holy cow. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that's actually absurd. Okay, so like please, mid-fight, it's okay to like just let the Zarya be there for just a second. Just please don't lose your life for it. Holy moly.
Yeah, on the good side, at the very least, he doesn't take too much damage before the fight actually begins because, well, he's coming back from spawn.
Right. Well, you say that, and then we do this. Like, I get it. We're probably matrixing our Lucio a lot, but we don't have to actually like be in front of our Reinhardt to do that. So, oh goodness.
Oh, that's right over there. Oh.
Hey.
Positionally, and obviously the micro fire are not very good. So like, obviously our Zora bubble was kind of scuffed. Like it was very, not kind of, it was very scuffed. It was like 10 meters behind. But like as soon as that Zora bubble goes in, like, and our Reinhardt's gonna push with that, I definitely want to be seeing D.Va in Dojo. Without doubt.
Like right here?
Oh, like right there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I would agree. Good cover use, good cover, good sightline, good angle, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just confusing because, like you were saying, it's like we seem very indecisive, like as a unit, not necessarily gravitic, of like when are we actually going in and when are we actually trading. So it's making it very hard for our D.Va to figure out. And this is one of the things that I think is definitely harder for lower ranked divas. Like if I'm being perfectly honest, it is flat out harder to time your engages in lower ranks. And this goes for every hero, but heroes like timing, like D.Va and Tracer, where the timing is a little more important. It's very hard because you have a lot of indecisive tanks. There's a lot of staggering. There's a lot of things like this. And like right now, I'm sorry, like, are we going in or are we not? I don't know. So we also don't know when to off angle, which makes it really difficult too. That being said, we could definitely see that stuff is happening right now. So you could probably go ahead and start to swing a little wider to this corner here, maybe push out here. And to be fair, we do start to do that. Our Reinhardt, unfortunately, also stacks, but it is what it is. Oh, one thing. So this is a little bit of a difficulty with the off-angle thing. Do you think that exposes you too much to just getting solo shattered? Is that something you can play around?
That's definitely a very good point. I think it's less generalizable to like high ground and stuff. But if Reinhardt like has to turn his attention away to go focus the D.Va, like that should be a go sign for our own Reinhardt to land his own stressor or to like punish the Reinhardt who's stuck in mid animation. True. It's obviously gonna be very expensive for, you know, the attention and the shatter, which is an ultimate, and discords and Zarya beam and stuff like that to like cost out and clear a D.Va with that. So if our core isn't getting any value out of that, out of, you know, like our Reinhardt doesn't have discord on them anymore, it's on the D.Va now. Our Reinhardt doesn't have to worry about Zarya damage. Our Reinhardt doesn't have to worry about swings. Our Reinhardt doesn't have to worry about the enemy shatter. Like our core should definitely be punishing that.
True, and we're built to absorb that. You know, like we might get demacked, but it is what it is. Like I think, like you said, you need to make it expensive. And obviously, like you said, if high ground's at all an option, that's one defense against that for sure.
I mean, it reminds me of like like when you use bomb, like the hyper aggressiveness of it. So like if you're gonna go for like a wall bomb, like it's sort of into the back line, like the rest of your entire team needs to be like matching your aggression.
Right, right. Otherwise, it won't work out so well.
Yeah.
So this is more meaningful poke, but again, I'm concerned. Please don't actually like at this point right now. I would probably already reposition because just a couple of Zen orbs here could ruin your day.
And we don't have cover as well.
Right, right. Even the micro missile usage, like I'm super happy with it, but at least we'll have it relatively by the time the fight starts. And we don't have bombs, so the poke is more meaningful. But still, like let's not get chunked out here. Like, just be careful. So they're actually pushing. I think this is a situation where like we're rallying, but we're like not actually going in. So I guess it's okay to play back here. What are your thoughts?
I think that's more of a team thing because we use variable, we're rallying, Azura side charge, and right now we're like doing basically nothing. I'm not even sure if like our matrix like reaches here. So it's either we int with this rally, like it depends because like they might kite back and then actually no, I would definitely like int with this rally, perhaps like go like straight behind them and then like call matches that aggression. And if they like we hopefully like force a support ultimate like maybe like their rally, their trans, and then like we kite back. And then, yeah, we push back in like with a beat or something.
Right.
Like arm glove.
Sure. Bomb. Placement's good. Like, you want that bomb inside that grab.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a null right there. Okay. Sick. Pretty cool stuff. I haven't seen Goats play in like a long time. It's getting like bringing back some memories. But yeah, in my opinion, we've got a pretty easy ride in terms of as coaches. There's not this is like this is like saltine crackers and chicken noodle soup. And you don't feel so good. It's like super easy to digest. This review was rather easy to digest.
Yeah, thankfully.
You're right. What are your thoughts? What would you say is like the simplest way of describing what this team needs to work on?
If you have bomb, don't waste your own HP and your own resources. Trying to poke too early because it's going to be meaningless. Essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, like once the fight actually breaks out, then you can start taking your angles with the resources that you saved because you didn't waste them poking out early. To then take your angles. I think that's by far the main thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just mostly, like I said, the timing of when they were using the resources specifically too early. In these late in these poke phases, losing HP, losing matrix, losing boosters, losing micro missiles almost every single time. And a lot of times when we already had bomb, where there's not even a meaningful return on investment anyway. So I could see it being more viable if we're really trying to get that last 5-10% on bomb. But like obviously we're not getting anything out of it, so it was very questionable. But positioning I think could have been a little better, like angling, like looking to play high grounds and things like that.
Yeah.
But overall, a lot of times it was like, well, it's very difficult for you to do that because you're so low in HP. I mean, it's what we said at the end of the first round, and it carried through in second. So simple path to success. And what I always say is simple is not always easy. So I think these things are not super easy to fix, but I think it is simple to process, right? Do you have any last things that you think this D.Va should be kind of keeping in mind, or do you think that mostly sums it up?
I think that mostly sums it up, but one last thing would be making sure that you're on the same page as Reinhardt, and you're syncing aggression with him as well.
Right, absolutely. Okay, well, Midget, thank you so much. That was really, really fun. I honestly didn't know that would be a Goats VOD, so that was a pleasant surprise. That shows us how well I do my homework. Oh, we're coaching this? Oh, okay, well, I guess that's what we're doing today. So thank you so much for coming on, mate. I really appreciate you doing this. Now, can I get a leak?
A leak for what?
I want to know, do you want to leak to chat? What is your next hero guide gonna be, or is that under wraps?
Bastion.
Unironically Bastion.
Unironically Bastion. Yeah.
Let's go. So chat, any of you Bastion hardcore one tricks, I just linked Major Midget's YouTube in the chat. If you guys are wanting to literally climb from 0.5 SR to top 500, you now have the key to getting Bastion OTP. So there you go. You're very welcome. I just linked his YouTube in the Twitch chat. Highly recommend you check him out. This kid has almost... Oh man, you have more subscribers than I do. Oh no! That means I have to retire now. Oh man, that really sucks. Okay, well, congratulations on that, and thank you again so much for coming on the chat. That was awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Spilo, as
All
well.
right, cheers. Have a good rest of your week. See you,
Yeah,
mate.
you too. See ya.